So, an elephant and a dung beetle. This is a story about Peter. Peter was a very small dung beetle in the plains of Africa. And Peter was always looking for elephant dung. Sometimes Peter would settle for giraffe or hippopotamus dung. I mean, it was okay. Maybe even a zebra here and there. But his favorite was elephant dung. He loved to roll little balls of it, well, little for us, but they were as big as he could carry them, and roll them all by himself away and away from the main big pile of dung. One day, though, Peter was walking around, sniffing with his antenna to see if he could find some delicious dung, and he came across something strange. He came across a magic rock in the middle of the desert that anybody that walks over it gets to ask for a wish, and the wish comes true. Peter, not knowing this, accidentally walked over the magic rock, and immediately a genie appeared, poof, like a puff of smoke with a face smiling in front of Peter. He said, "You have awakened the genie, and I now want to go back to sleep, but before I go to sleep, I will have to grant you a wish." And Peter said, "Ooh, wish! I want to have uh, tons and tons of dung to enjoy." "Your wish will be granted," said the genie, and poof, it went back to sleep inside of the rock. Peter felt very lucky, and so kept walking and walking and walking, when sure enough, he sensed the smell of elephant dung. And off he went with its little legs running as fast as the wind could take him until he found the source of the smell. A normal sized amount of elephant dung. And there he was, working very diligently. He was not the first one there, but he definitely was going to get a little ball for himself. And working tirelessly and sometimes even competing and fighting with the other beetles, he managed to get his own ball of dung and started rolling it and rolling it and rolling it and rolling it and rolling it for a long, long distance for a beetle.
Hey, it's only in circles.
Yeah, well, it's still a long distance for a beetle. And then, as he was doing this, he finally got away from the rest of the other beetles and he knew that he didn't have to compete with the others. He had the ball of dung safe for himself. When he started remembering that mysterious genie and the wish he had asked for. And he thought, I wonder what that was all about. That was very strange. Whatever. But as soon as he decided to start walking again, another elephant happened to pass right next to him. Of course, the elephant didn't notice Peter, the beetle, under him. And he took the biggest poop ever, and all of it rained on top of Peter, which suddenly was crushed by mountains and mountains of elephant poop. This was not what he had asked for. Well, yes, it was because he asked for tons of elephant poop, but he did not expect to be under them. He expected to find a mountain all for himself. If only he had been more specific. And now he was drowning in so much poop. And the same friends that he had taken some poop from had to come to his rescue. And they all started getting to the elephant dung and rolling balls and taking them away. And it took a whole afternoon for Peter to be freed from that. When he came out of there, he was disgusting. He was so dirty that nobody wanted to be near him. And you're talking about dung beetles. They love the smell of dung. But even Peter was too smelly for them. And so Peter thought, all right, this is what I'll do. I'm going to retrace my steps and I'm going to find that genie again and I'm going to ask him to make me super clean. And And so he went back where he had been walking through. It took him a while, but finally he found the magic rock. He looked at it for a second, thought about his wish, and walked over it. And poof, the genie appeared. I am the genie of the rock, said. You have awakened me and I want to go back to sleep, but before I do, I have to grant you one wish. And Peter said, I want to take the biggest shower ever so that I can be clean for my friends. Your wish will be granted, said the genie. Poof, and it disappeared. And so Peter went back to walking towards his friends, thinking that at any point the genie would grant his wish and he would get what he wanted and everybody would go back to normal. But at first, nothing happened. And so he waited and waited. The day was almost over and he kept waiting. And the sun started setting and he kept waiting. And the moon started rising and he kept waiting. And suddenly he started hearing thunder way back in the distance. It seemed like a very intense rain, somewhere upriver perhaps. And he kept waiting and waiting and waiting, when suddenly a huge gush of water started rolling down the riverbed. There had been a storm up river, and the river was now flooding everywhere. That's what's known as a flash flood. And suddenly Peter was tossed and tumbled in tons of water. It was horrendous. It was so scary.
Wait, was the water like full of dirt and brown?
At first, yes, but then it wasn't. It was already clean. And yes, indeed, he got the biggest shower of his life, but he barely survived it. And so he decided to never go find that genie ever again because he's a trickster. Not that he could, anyways, because the rain and the water washed away the magic rock, so nobody knows where that is. So, if you're ever near a river and you step onto a rock by accident and a genie pops up, be very careful how you word your wish. You must be very specific. Otherwise, the genie could perhaps try to have a little fun with you. The end.
Yay! Best story ever.
Good night, baby.
Good night.